is a special one for me. Today, I actually have a guest, unlike the first two episodes. But joining me today is Danielle Pflugh. Danielle and I have known each other for the better part of 20 years, and hard to believe it's been that long. And we started out as young kids at 911, and then left 911 in civil service pretty close to around the same time. Matter of fact, it was Danielle, her husband, and I all worked in I-1 and all left around the same time. Uh, just a little introduction to Danielle. Danielle, is a wife, a mom of twin girls, former 911 dispatcher, has gone through quite the journey in the last few years. And it was a real inspiration to watch the journey she's gone on, both professionally, personally, health wise. And we're going to dive into all of that today. So, Danielle, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So, 911 was quite the adventure for both of us. We struck up a friendship there, you and Steve and I and others. And, we had our on duty experiences and off duty experiences.
Yes.
The 2,300 trips to Blarney and wherever else that might take us. And if for those that don't know, Blarney's a bar. Uh, and in our younger years and really before you had babies,
Yes.
there was a lot of those nights. But um, talk about 911. What does that job mean to you? What is your mindset around now that you're away from it and you've been away from it a little while? What's your mindset around what 911 meant?
911 was an experience in many ways. I will say that, good and bad, both. But reflecting back, it did teach me a lot about myself, what's important to me, um, and a lot about just first responders in general. It was challenging, but it was also very rewarding. And I met some great people, including yourself, along my way. And it has really been a big part of my journey. And
Yeah,
I'm still grateful that I had that experience for sure.
right. And I remember that, well, the twins were little, and then you went, or refresh my memory, you went part time
Yep.
for a bit.
Y- Yeah, that made the most sense for our family financially. I mean, and just, from a mom perspective and dad perspective too. But they were two before I went part time. So childcare ended up being almost as much as my paycheck. So it only made sense for me to scale things back work wise, stay home with the kids, make that my priority. Steve was very supportive, of course. Um, and yeah, that I kind of stepped into my role as mom more than as a dispatcher at that time. And I'm very grateful for that turning point. It was the
Yeah.
right move, no question.
And really, you weren't the only one. I know a couple other moms that we worked with that ultimately ended up doing the same thing just
Mhm.
because it made sense to the family unit. And that job that job's not always conducive to the family
It
unit.
was very challenging with Steve and I both working there. We had tried probably every other step we could before taking that route because we split our shifts, so we didn't
Right.
need the childcare. We handed the kids off at work, if you
Yep.
remember correctly.
Yep.
We also tried switching lines, which means we had different days off, so less childcare was needed. It was ultimately not the healthiest move for our relationship as a family, so we tried so many different things before we really said, listen, this is just the only option that really makes sense.
Mm.
And it did, and it worked for so long, until the kids started school. And I'm so grateful that I had that time at home with them. They were toddlers. I'll never get that time back.
Right.
Such a priority to really appreciate that time with them because they grow really quickly.
Yeah, and I can appreciate because even my two oldest, I mean, I started 911 when they were tiny. My son wasn't even born yet.
Hmm.
Um, and I missed out on a lot of evening, afternoon stuff because
Yeah.
of work and them growing up. But I had to go to work. And, I was fortunate enough that, my first wife was able to stay home and make sure the kids were taken care of and so on. But I missed as a dad. I missed out because I was working at that time. I was working afternoons. Uh,
Mhm.
I can remember many holidays shoving food in my face and running out the door to go to work. Um,
Shift work was the biggest challenge. I mean,
yeah,
on top of the stress, but shift work, there was no good shift to work. You missed
right.
something no matter what shift it was. It was
Yep.
tough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And even with my two youngest daughters now, when they were little, I had to go to midnights
Mhm.
just because we had to have, like you said, that handoff, getting them to where they needed to go. And um, but you're right, it's not easy. Um, when did you? I know when I did. I talk about it all the time. I probably talk about it to nauseum for some people of when I was burned out, had enough, didn't want to do it anymore, and spent 5 years looking for a way out. Um, when was that kind of an epiphany for you that I need to do something else?
Well, I knew I didn't want to go back full time
Yeah,
pretty quickly after I was home for a bit with the kids.
yeah,
It was it was it was kind of crazy how everything happened looking back now. The kids started kindergarten, so I felt if they're in school full time, I need to start back something full time. And I did not want it to be shift work. I did not want to work the nights, the holidays, the weekends with these kids, right? I
yeah.
mean, way too challenging. So I have still been on a journey ever since then. The girls are 12 now, so I've been through quite a few jobs trying to figure that out, honestly. But I knew very quickly that I wasn't returning to the shift work, and I knew it wasn't going to be 911. Figuring that out has just been a challenge, but I'm hoping I got it right this time. We'll get to that soon.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's just getting out, and it's a scary thing to do because I don't know if you heard it. I know I heard it. How could you leave this stable job? How could you walk away from that guaranteed retirement?
Yes,
And it was like, I can go make more money somewhere else and invest that money and still have a retirement, no matter what
exactly.
what the state retirement says. And it's one of those things of, all right, we're just going to jump off this cliff without a parachute and see where we land.
Something will come up, and I think that we had to take, I know I personally had to take a few different routes to really get it figured out. Yeah, but it was, yeah, 911 was great, but it was not it.
Yeah. Is there anything you miss about the job?
I miss the camaraderie amongst our peers. I do
Yeah.
miss just sharing that trauma bond
All right.
that all of us definitely had.
Yep.
Working that job, nobody understands it unless you do it. So,
Right.
and I still have hung on to many friends that I made along the way there, and I miss the relationship between like the road and the radio. I miss the chatting with all my first responder friends and stuff, while I'm on the job. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I can still keep in touch with them, on my own. So.
And it's funny you say that because, like, just today, I was watching a video from Syracuse police for an officer that I remember when he started. Now he's retiring.
Mhm.
That's happened a lot in the last 5 years.
Yep.
You get these folks that, and they hit their 20 years and they go, and it's
Yeah.
based on what they've gone through. At least in law enforcement, it's based on what they've gone through
Mhm.
in the last 5 or 10 years.
Mhm.
They don't want to work 40-year careers anymore. Same thing, shift work. I've done it. I'm done with it. Time to do something else.
Exactly.
It's interesting, and I always think about it like I miss the job, but I don't miss doing the job. I miss the people I worked with, most of them,
Yeah.
um, because there was a lot of relationships that were forged there that I still have today. Uh,
Mhm.
but like when I left, the year before I left, I could have cared less if I
Right.
took one more phone call or dispatched one more fire truck or police car. I
You were
didn't want to do
checked
it.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was done. And I was at year 19, 18, 19. I wasn't at year 28 trying to get that 55, you know?
Right. Right.
Um, So yeah, it's definitely it I would never because I mean I don't know about you, but I grew up with the thought of all right, civil service is a job to have because of that stability. And
Yes.
I always thought I was going to be a city firefighter somewhere and ended up at
Mhm.
911. Um, but realistically now the as much as the world has changed and there's so many
Mhm.
different opportunities, and if you get the right skill set, you're afforded different opportunities. And you now, if I remember it, you were working for the sprinkler company, right?
Yes. Yep. I just left there. That's very fresh, but I did. I went from 911 to the city bus dispatcher position because that was
Okay. Yeah, that's
still
right.
along the dispatcher line, I thought, and still in the state retirement. But that was crazy. And then COVID hit anyway and sent me home. And
Yep,
then I was a building secretary at an elementary
that's right.
school, which was also absolutely crazy. So then I ended up at the sprinkler company with a work from home job that, was great in some aspects for our family, but ultimately not fulfilling.
No, okay.
And yeah, that's kind of what led me to where I'm at today. So I took a deep dive probably a year ago because I knew that wasn't it either. And I'm like, I can't keep bouncing from job to job. That's not what
Right.
I want to be doing and not what I'm meant to do. And I really just did a deep dive within and was like, what really lights me up? What do I feel confident doing? Um, and right now, that is becoming a health coach for others that have been along a similar journey like I have. So I'm
Yeah,
excited.
let's dive into that because it's such a great story. And I think back and I kind of laugh. And when the girl, your daughter and my daughter were doing gymnastics and we're in Florida for a
Mhm.
competition, and
Yep.
you had said, "Oh, I don't drink anymore."
Yep.
And I went, "Huh? I spent all those nights with her and her husband at a bar. What does she mean she doesn't drink anymore?" Um, and then you slowly started telling your story of I had a lot of health problems and I had to figure out why I wasn't feeling well, and alcohol was the first thing that it was cut out. And truly, and I think I shared this with you. You had shared that you had been a year sober
Hmm.
without alcohol.
Yep.
And around the same time I started having health problems, minor health problems. And for me, it didn't matter if I drank one beer or 12 beers. I just felt like
Right.
garbage.
Yep.
And I went, this is it. And I really took a cue from you and one other person of just get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's not doing you any good.
Yep.
Um, so kind of unpack that. And I know you've told your story, but unpack.
No, I'm happy to tell it here for
Yeah.
sure. And I'm hoping to inspire more people just like this. I
Yep.
mean, I know I'm not the only one that ended up here and that felt very stuck in my body without many answers. So we'll back it up. It goes back a long time. I've been having health issues for 20 years now. I was diagnosed with a skin condition that ultimately was caused by inflammation. Doctors never knew what caused the inflammation, so they never knew how to fix the inflammation. So that kind of catapulted things for me. I spent a decade dealing with problems and no answers. The only answer that doctors came up with was like surgically removing the abscesses the inflammation was causing, which spent sent me like down a spiral of chronic chronic fatigue, chronic inflammation, chronic pain, and chronic pain will do crazy things to your mind. So at one point there I was like, this can't be the answer, there's got to be something that I can do. So I did my own research and I ended up finding a lot of information about you either feed your body or you fight the
Yeah.
disease, so I started paying more attention to what I was putting into my body, not just the exercise portion of things. Doctors never recommended looking at my diet. They never even considered, trying to remove inflammatory foods or things that might be causing this inflammation. So During this process, I also developed some like severe arthritis and stuff that
Oh,
really just made me feel awful. But yeah, it was when I turned into like looking at food as fuel and not, like a coping mechanism that
right,
my Italian, culture has made very normal for me. I love a good bowl of pasta when I need
right.
a hug, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot to that. And I started unpacking a ton of that. And, through eating the right foods and drinking my water and, fueling my body the way that it likes to be fueled, sent me into the alcohol part of things. That was like the one thing I had never cut out. Um, that was still causing problems. I had felt better, but not my
Mm,
best, and I
right.
knew on my kid's 10th birthday when we were at the water park and not I was in pain trying to climb the stairs at the water park to keep up with them on the slides, and it kind of broke me. Honestly, I'm like, I am not old enough to be feeling this way.
I was gonna
Uh,
say, how old were you then?
38.
Oh, way too young.
Wait, I mean, I had been feeling 80 for 10 years as it was. I
Yeah.
knew that this is not normal. Doctors did not seem to care. They just threw anti-inflammatories at me anyway, which is a whole nother soapbox that I can get on. But
Right.
because those weren't helping things, they were definitely making things worse. So I took my health into my own hands. I started to feel a lot better with like nutrition and guidance. I actually hired a health coach around COVID time to help me with that route of things. And then it was 2.5 years ago now that the girls turned 10. We had that water park epiphany that I just really wanted to feel better. And I was like, you know what? For the rest of the month of December, I'm not gonna have a drink unless I like absolutely have to. Like and I
Right.
drank like on 3 occasions that month. I remember it. And it was Christmas Eve at my grandma's, which is the best time of the year. And I had only had like a couple glasses of wine with the family. I did not wake up on Christmas Day like super hungover, feeling awful, but I woke up just not wanting to. I don't need that, like I just felt like I really didn't need that. So I was like, I'm going to do dry January. Everybody
Mhm.
talks about it. It's a great reset. Um, it was challenging. I had a lot of social engagements during January. We had the fire
Mhm.
department banquet, we had a work party, I had a funeral, I had celebrations, I had all sorts of things. And I stuck to my guns and I said, you know what? I'm just going to see what the difference is in a month, right? And it was a big, big difference. I
Right.
felt better. I couldn't believe and I wasn't drinking a lot. That's like the craziest part of I mean, when I drink a lot, but I wasn't drinking every day. I was maybe drinking a night or two a week, I guess,
Yep.
um, socially.
Right.
I didn't need it, but I also am an all or nothing kind of person. So for me to just have a drink or two, when I know it's not doing anything positive for my health, like doesn't make any sense. I had a purpose to feel the best I possibly could, right? So after January, it was like, okay, I made it a month. That was challenging, but I feel amazing. Like I'm not ready to go back to feeling like crap, right? Um, and then I just kept having fun with it, doing it for the plot and just shocking people when I'm like, nope, we're not boozing anymore. And they're like, what?
Wait, what?
Are you pregnant? What's
Yeah,
wrong?
right, there you go.
Like you get so many, like, did you have a problem? And it's just for me, like, you don't have to have a problem, and I think that's so stigmatized in our society. Like, it doesn't have to be you're a raging alcoholic to want to make these positive changes in your life and really just choose health and wellness for yourself and your family.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's honestly, that's
It's that resonates so much because it's like it'll be a year for me, May 12th.
whoa, we're pulling up
Right.
on it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And it was after Mary's birthday party, and I had I don't know. I had some drinks and whatever, but I just did not like my blood pressure was too high,
Mhm.
didn't feel well. I'm like, I saw Danielle do this. I'm gonna cut this, see what happens when I cut this out, right? And I'm like, all right, well, same thing. I'll do it for a month and see what happens. And
Yep.
so like I come from a family of addictive personalities.
Same. Yes. Both sides.
Um, but like and it's very different to have that DNA built into you. But for me,
Mhm.
I never thought of having those addictive personalities. But now that I've stepped back and went,
Yes.
I relied entirely like Thursday and Friday came around. I was like, all right, it's beer night,
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and then I got through May and I got through June and my wife's family, they're drinkers. They get together and they have their wine and they have their my father-in-law was a co-owner of a brewery. I mean,
Yep.
it was there. And I get to
Yep.
June and the family's like, "What do you mean you're not drinking? Did your doctor do that?" Well, just tell your doctor you feel okay and then you can but no, no, no. This is personal
I wanted
choice.
to. Yeah.
Get to July now and it's our we go out for our wedding anniversary and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try a little champagne. But I was so terrified of drinking that
Yeah.
champagne that I had some and that was and nope, no,
You,
not
it just
just not
doesn't resonate the same.
doesn't resonate the same. And ever since then, so now I joke I have my fake beer. I have my
Yeah.
NAs
Yep. Cool.
and I am good with that. It was fake beer, it was NAs and seltzer water that has gotten me through this year whenever there
Yep.
was a desire to drink alcohol.
That's it. I
You
mean,
know,
who cares what you're drinking? I don't know why it's such a
right?
big deal. Which is another part of this whole journey. I've realized how stigmatized it is. When I
Yeah,
tell people I'm not drinking, they're like, "Oh, well, me either." I haven't really been drinking a lot either, and it's like it's okay if you do. I mean, I don't care. Why?
yep,
But at the same time, relationships have changed with this, right? I mean,
right,
and that's just, part of the whole journey. But, if I don't care what you're drinking, I don't know why people care what we're drinking.
yeah,
It just
yeah.
doesn't
And
make
it's funny because like my wife's not a big drinker, and her and I
Mhm.
would enjoy drinks together. But now that I'm not drinking alcohol, she doesn't
Yeah,
normally drink alcohol.
same with
Uh,
Steve.
yeah, and it's great to have that support when there's not that pressure of oh hey come on just have one kind of thing because we all know one turns into a
12.
pitcher. Uh, so I've watched you really embrace, your this health journey and your fitness, your nutrition,
Yeah.
um, and you can tell that it really has kind of played off of every aspect of your life now, leading you up to your new adventure. Um, was there a point where you were like, "Holy crap, this is working"?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
it, you know,
I I mean, every day, like, one of my mantras is I'm just trying to be 1% better every single day. I'm in
great mantra?
competition with like absolutely nobody but myself. Who I was yesterday, I just want to do something to make that yesterday me a little bit better, right? And wellness as a whole, I think is like seven different categories. It's not just nutrition, it's not just exercise. It's so many more other things that play into your overall happiness. And I am just loving feeling the best I am able to feel. And I love being 100% present for my family. I love feeling like I'm on top of my game. I wake up 100% of myself every morning and I love that and I just get it going because I know that it will be rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you leave 911, you have a couple of different jobs. It really wasn't what you wanted to do. When did you go, huh, I could really do this coaching thing?
It was a journey. I considered a lot of other things, but the coaching is something I do naturally. every day of my life and truly have for a very long time. If you know me in real life, you know I love to listen. I love to offer advice. I love to be supportive, right? And health coaching, contrary to popular belief, is not me telling you what to do. It's not like a basketball coach where you're telling them what skills to make them better. It's more just offering guidance and support and keeping people accountable. Um, Obviously, I can offer general nutritional or advice or exercise advice, but it's not me making a meal plan or an exercise plan of sorts. So that whole idea of me kind of already naturally doing this
Right.
sucked me right in. I'm like, okay, I know nutrition and wellness has always lit me up. I read all sorts of self-help books all the time and, all sorts of books about how to be your healthiest self. Those are the things that like I enjoy reading. So I just felt like health and wellness was like the perfect space for me. I love holistic health,
Mhm.
especially considering my frustrations with modern medicine and my journey. So I just kind of followed that route, and the program was amazing. It was so reaffirming when I was coaching my classmates that this is right up my alley. This is what I should be doing. I know I'm going to be great at this. And I forgot to mention I'm sorry, supporting other people is exactly what lights me up. Like I love when other people feel good, right? And
Yeah.
if I can have any part in that, like it is my honor and so rewarding. So I just want to try to give back. If anybody is feeling stuck like I was, um, if I can help them feel better in any capacity, that would just be so rewarding. It's a big passion project. We'll see
Yeah.
where it goes,
Sure.
but I'm thrilled to be here.
That's great. And I mean, you recently get certified. They did the
Yes,
certification route, which not all coaches do. I mean,
correct.
I did real estate coaching for a little while, and I was part of a framework that provided everything you need to coach real
Yep.
estate agents, and it was fun to do. And I was fortunate enough to meet a few great people, a couple
Mhm.
of ended up being super successful people. Hopefully, I had some small part of helping them along.
Yeah.
Um, so what went into the certification? And was it, 16 weeks? Was it a 6 months? What went into that?
It was a 6-month program that it was like two parts. There's two parts to the certification. Right now I have the health and wellness coaching certification, which was like a self-study certification. So I did online schooling for 6 months and I took a test and I got my certification. There was a second part of that because I will be nationally board certified once I complete this entire process. But the board preparation was a live class. So that when I talk about coaching my classmates, that's what I'm referring to. I did 4 months of live classes. And coaching sessions with each other. And that was twice a week, 2 hours a night. And, it was dedication, but like I said, it was super reaffirming because it made me feel more confident that this was the right decision for me.
No, that's great. So you're about to launch your new, well, coaching business.
Yes.
Talk about that. What's that look like for you?
Well, it has been a lot more work than we
A lot of
anticipated.
work.
And I'm right on the cusp. I honestly am thinking about launching it this afternoon. So we'll see what happens by Tuesday, hopefully for sure. I built myself a website. I am going to be on social media. People can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and at seekupwellness.com. I will be offering customized packages for people. I personally, as a coach, would love to see people dedicate 12 weeks to real transformation. But if
Mhm.
you're not ready to commit fully, I'm going to offer some 4-week and 8-week courses to get people started and get into it, see if it's the right fit. It's funny because I feel like I could not have done this 5 years ago, definitely not 10 years ago. I feel like, you know, the whole journey I've been on brought me to this point. I truly could not have done it any sooner, but I'm really excited to, get things going. I just want to spread wellness information. I'm excited to share information. Information is free. And
Yeah.
apparently, a lot of people don't know a lot about things unless you're looking for it. So
Right. Yeah, we don't know what we don't know. And I
that's
was
it.
just thinking about how you went from helping people when we worked at 911, helping people through probably their worst day in their
Yeah.
lives a lot of the times. So now you're helping people maybe in the worst part of their lives,
Yeah.
and maybe they're under a storm cloud and they don't know what else to do. And, how do you, I won't say convince, but how do you uh, talk with folks that are kind of on the fence of, I don't know about coaching. I don't know if that's something for me.
Yeah.
How do we work through that?
I think it's more about what people are ready to commit to.
Mhm.
The biggest thing is that people need to be ready to make some changes. My philosophy with coaching is that you are taking very small bites, one at a time, 1 week at a time. You want to make small, sustainable changes to evoke the big behavior changes that will bring you to a better quality of life, right? So, if people, I mean, you're not ready until you're ready, and I'm definitely not here to convince anybody that coaching is what they need, and I'm not making any empty promises. I just really do believe that support and that guidance and that accountability that I'm offering is absolutely necessary when you're trying to make big lifestyle changes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think most people struggle with how to start, when to start. When's the right
100%.
time? When's the right time? Well, it's never the right time.
That's
Uh,
it. I mean, when you're ready, but that's the thing. It's like, okay, do I start with nutrition? Do I start with working out? And do I have to go like completely gluten-free, dairy-free, corn-free? Like do I have like you don't have to do all of that at once, and I would actually advise you not to because too much you're going to bear, you're going to set yourself back. You need to take just small steps in the right direction and have patience. It's a huge part of this too. I mean, this didn't happen with me overnight. A lot of us have been self-sabotaging for 20 plus years or whatever it may be. So you're not going to undo that in a month. You have
right.
to give yourself time
Yep.
and dedication to that wellness goal, you know?
Yep. Yeah, no,
So,
100%.
yeah, I'm excited.
So I'll throw this at you and you can answer the best way you can. Um, Coaches there's a lot of them
Yeah.
in all forms, fashions, niches. Why Danielle Pflugh?
Well, I have a lived experience.
Yeah.
I just like every health coaching, like I said, is full of different niches.
Right.
Mine will be personal because I would love to work with people who are struggling with chronic health, chronic inflammation,
Mhm.
chronic pain. They don't know where to start or what to do, and doctors don't know how to deal with that. They only know medicine, and that's great. And I believe in medicine as well.
Right.
There's a time and a place, but sometimes it just takes a simple step in the right direction, and sometimes we just need a little bit more guidance. So the empathy that I've gained through my own experience is going to be a big part of this.
Mhm.
And I know how it feels. I know how it feels to be stuck, to feel helpless, and to just feel like you have no answers. So I don't want people to lose hope. I want to inspire people that you can change, you can feel better. It's not all over when the doctor says, "Well, we don't know what to do."
That's that's a good enough answer right there. I think that's a good place to leave it.
Thank
Uh,
you.
so Danielle, super great to talk to you and kind of work through this. And I'm super excited to see where your coaching business takes you, how many, let's say hundreds of people you can help. And really, um, put your flag in the sand, so to say, on this new journey for you. And if the other journeys prove anything, is that you're ready for this one, and you'll make it your own, which is fantastic. Um, any parting words from you before we wrap this up?
I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. This feels so good to speak out loud and to be really excited about. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story, my journey. And I'm also very excited to see where things go with your podcast and my new business. And hopefully, we'll be helping the world, right?
There you go. Shout it out loud.
Love it.
Outstanding. Well, thank you again. Everybody, this is episode 3 of At the Kitchen Table podcast. It's real conversations with real people doing real things. So if you have any interest, if you're watching this, drop a comment. If you're listening to it, drop a comment, share it with anybody you know. And then next time, if you feel like it, pull up a chair to the kitchen table and let's talk about anything and anything. So with that, everybody, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and have a great day. Today's